Hello, my name is Maria from mathmammoth.com. In this lesson, we're gonna study the volume of spheres. A sphere is just a perfect ball, like you see here, and its volume is a formula that you need to memorize. Once again, if you're in 8th grade, you need to memorize these basic formulas for volume of basic shapes. The volume is 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. Let's say it again. 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. What helps you is that, first of all, the radius has to be cubed. If it was squared, you would have area. Cubed for cubic units in volume. And then pi, well, just like in a circle we have pi, we have it here in a sphere too. And then the 4/3. Okay, and here's our first exercise. The International Tennis Federation specifies that the tennis ball's official diameter should be between 6.54 and 6.86 centimeters. So let's say that we have a tennis ball with a diameter of 6.7 centimeters. How many of those would have a total volume of at least 1 liter? Centimeters and liters. That looks like it would be difficult, but actually it's not, because 1 cubic centimeter equals 1 milliliter. That's easy, right? And then 1,000 milliliters makes a liter. So a liter is 1,000 cubic centimeters. Now, let's calculate the volume of one of those tennis balls. It was 4/3, right? Then we have the pi for circles and spheres both, then radius cubed. What's the radius in this case? You take the diameter divided by 2, so we get 3.35 centimeters cubed. That would be the volume of 1, so let's calculate that as an intermediate result. So here we get 157 point, and I want to keep several decimals here since this is just an intermediate result. The final result we want to round, and in this case it's asking how many tennis balls, so we actually have to round it to entire tennis balls. But you always want to keep extra decimals for your intermediate results. What unit is here? Well, centimeters cubed. And then I said already that 1 liter, as a side note, is 1,000 cubic centimeters, or also 1,000 milliliters. And 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. So, how many of these would make a liter? If I round this to 160, I can estimate. 6 times 160 is 960. So that already tells me that 6 tennis balls is not enough, right? Therefore the answer is 7. 7 tennis balls will be more than 1 liter. Alright, let's solve our last question then for this lesson. A pond is approximately in the shape of a half sphere with a diameter of 120 feet. Notice that once again we're given the diameter, but we will need the radius in the calculations. How much water will it hold in gallons when it is 90% full? Maybe you actually need to calculate something like this if you're using a pond to get through a dry season and you need to water crops, gardens, something like that. So that actually could happen in real life, that you would need to know something like this. We will calculate the volume of this half sphere, but it's 90% full. This here is in feet, so a calculation for volume will give us cubic feet. But this one needs to be in gallons, the final answer in gallons. And we can convert between gallons and cubic inches. Okay, we'll get to the conversions later. Overall, one could start the calculation using inches instead of feet, and therefore the final answer would immediately be in cubic inches. Or you can calculate in cubic feet and then convert to gallons. We'll do that one, the latter. We will use the formula for the sphere, but we need to only take half of it and only 90% of that, okay? So we need to take 90% of the volume of a half a sphere, and the formula was 4/3 times pi times radius cubed, yes. What's the radius? It's not this, it's 60 feet. Alright, let's get that from the calculator then. So here's my answer written down, about 407,000 cubic feet. Now let's think about the conversion between cubic inches and cubic feet. 1 foot is 12 inches. And I want you to learn this, even though you could go to Google and just give Google this conversion problem. I want you still to learn how to derive these conversion factors, because you might not always have it so handy. If 1 foot is 12 inches, then a cubic foot, how does that work? A cubic foot is this one cubed. 1728 cubic inches. So we have this many cubic feet, and it's going to be many more cubic inches. We multiply the whole thing by this 1728. And then we have 1 gallon is 231 cubic inches. So in that case, are we going to multiply or divide by 231? Think about it this way. Are there going to be less gallons or more gallons as far as the number than cubic inches? Cubic inches are kind of small units. Gallon is much bigger. So a number has to get smaller at that point, so we need to divide. But first we will take this number and multiply by 1728. So multiplying those two gives me something like 703.5 million cubic inches. But then I will divide that by the 231. And here we get it in gallons. It's over 3 million gallons. However, we will still round it according to the rules of significant digits. Over here we have, well, conversion factors actually are pretty accurate, but this one here is the number that we don't know how accurate it is. If it is accurate to the foot, then we get 3 significant digits. Alright, a little over 3 million gallons. So that's a lot of water. It should get you through the dry season. We're all done with this lesson.